Welcome back. Thanks for joining us again. This is this RS275 that we've had in for the Motec Upgrade. This is the same car if you look at our last video where we did the air filter comparisons. We've now got the Motec on it. We're just about to pull it off the dyno. We thought we'd just give you a run through where we got to and what level we're at. Before we kind of go any further, what we will do is we'll just show you how we strap them down. We strap them down tight front and back on the rear wheels with the chock in place. And then at the front we cross over so that we actually pull the car down. We don't really let it ride up the rollers. We want to try and keep the thing as stable as we can. This car, it's basically just a dead stock car. So if you look in here, you can see it's still the factory intercooler. There's nothing overly special or anything else about it. There's nothing really kind of new onto there. If you come back up the top here, we've got the factory airbox, the factory hoses, the factory snorkel coming forward. There's no extensions. There's nothing very flash there. The Motec kit, we always put in the battery box, so the Motec's in there. The lambda cam module's here. We do need to fit a slightly smaller battery. It's basically a DIN 53 LH. Cranking capacity is quite similar. It's a little bit smaller, but we've never really had a problem with them. We fitted a whole heap to these. It just gives us a slightly better installation with the whole car. Let's push this back down again. Put it in that side. Back there. You can see it fits in. We've got this hose coming out the front here. Wiring harness. It just plugs into all the factory connectors. You don't really have to cut anything. There's a couple of extra wires coming through here for the lambda module and for the sequential coil expansion. I'll just lift this off. You can see in here it's all pretty much stock, except for the coil expansion harness, and we've got a Motec LTC, and we're using a Bosch 4.9 wideband sensor, so we actually have wideband control rather than the narrowband control that the factory 3110 ECU uses. So if you look around the front of it, it's all very much stock. To be honest, I don't know if you can see, but it's actually still got the factory downpipe and the factory cat on it. It's a standard turbo. We did measure the wheels. So basically, I suppose if you wanted to call it that, this would be like a stage 1 modification where there's basically no mods to the car. It's pretty much standard. This car does have an Akrapovic exhaust on it though, which kind of explains why we're up a little few horsepower on our first runs. The only thing that we did finish up having to do, we had to put 1000cc injectors in it because we're kind of running right up on the 85% duty cycle. It's been really hot here in Sydney when we've been dynoing this. Our air temps into the engine have been quite high. If the air temps drop down, then your air density increases and you need more fuel. Now the owner's planning on doing the standard Wagner type copy intercooler upgrade. He's also going to put some sprayers on it because the Motec system can drive intercooler sprayers really well. If that's the case, we have a 10 or 15 degree drop in air intake temp, which will probably give us about a 5% increase in horsepower because the air will be denser. We just wouldn't have had enough injector left over. The client is talking about going E85 a little bit down the road. These injectors will handle E85. We won't max them out, so that'll be his next upgrade, but basically this is a dead stock car. So if we come over to here, the red line is as it was delivered to us, and the blue and the yellow lines, they're just a few of the runs. We just dragged up a couple just to show it wasn't a one-off. They're where the car's at now, tuned on 98 petrol. So you can see we don't really lose anything down low. The biggest thing that's kind of really impressive is you can see down here we're up 120 to 130 newton meters of torque at 4,000 RPM. So it's like a 34% increase in torque. If you look at our horsepower at the wheels, we're almost 80 horsepower up on the previous tune at 4,000. If we come across to 41, we've got 300 horsepower at the engine at 4,100. Our max horsepower, because remember it is the factory turbo and it does tend to run out of puff, it's around 6.1 kind of a range, but it's only like another 15 horsepower. It's like 325-ish horsepower at the engine at 6,100, but we've got 300 horsepower, or better than 300 horsepower at 31. So it's an incredibly flat power curve now. So once you're up on the turbo, the thing's just going to keep humming along. If you look, you can see the big gains all the way through. Like if we come across to where the previous tune or standard tune used to make its peak power, you kind of look at that and go, oh, it's only another 30 horsepower at the engine there, but it just holds that and it keeps it going the whole way up. This is the big area around here. It's this extra increase in power and torque from your around that 4,000 mark up to 5,000. Like, it's a massive increase all through that area there, which is like, it'll definitely make the car feel a whole lot more alive. We're just gonna jump in the car now. Just turn that dyno fan on. Oh, the other thing, and sorry about the noise, but before we go any further, if you look at the ambient temp, you can see all these runs, the ambient temperature was quite the same. The ambient temperature was actually a little bit cooler on the red run, so it should have made a little bit more power than what it could have if we had it done on the same day, but still a massive increase. Okay, we're just jumping in the car now. We're just going to start it. So as you can see, there's no check engine lights or any of that kind of stuff. All the features still work. If we look at our RS monitor as it boots up, everything works as per normal. You can see everything's hooked up here. What we try and do is, we've got two ignition timing maps here. The two ignition timing maps, basically the mode we're in at the moment is when the car's in normal on the mode button, and that's basically a map. You can run it on E10 or you can run it on 95 octane. If we hit the Sport ESC button, it's now moved over to another map. This is our 98 map. When we do the flex stuff, there's another map for flex, and then there's a blend between this map and the flex map, depending on the ethanol content that's in there. The other thing that's kind of a bit nice with what we've done here as well, at the moment we're in Sport ESC off. Just wait for it to catch back up again. It's just a bad connection on the USB adapter there. Okay, we're just going to come across the boost control, come to boost aim main. We've basically got 3 boost maps that we access in here. We can put a keypad in it and have 9 boost maps if we want to, but basically we've got our normal map. So you see now it's dropped back over to 1, which is it's just a map with less boost in it. It still makes a little bit more power than what they did to start with, or what it did on the red tune, but it's a more gentler map. Sport ESC, it goes on the map 2. We've got a different set of values in there. And if we go to Sport ESC off, it goes to map 3, which is a different set of values again. So you can put 3 different maps in it. You can also have 3 different traction maps. It's basically just a whole heap of stuff that you can do using the factory sensors and switches. We also have crackle overrun that we can tune to decide how much it bangs and pops, and we also have a timeout on that, so we can actually tune it for how long it'll actually stay active when you get off the throttle. So all of that's in there. We can have that just in Sport ESC off mode, or we can have it in Sport and Sport ESC off mode. We can basically configure all of that to wherever you want that to be. We can also have a ghost cam function in there, so it just sounds like it's got bigger cams, and we can have that just happen on Sport mode ESC off, or we can have that on the speed limiter switch, or we can configure it to basically be any of that kind of stuff along the way. So this is basically our fuel map here. You can see the air temp's really creeping up because it's a very hot day. What we're just gonna do right now is we'll just prepare the dyno. So we're just going to give this a run on the dyno just so you can see the power it makes as it makes it. See, it's all about the same horsepower at the wheels every time. So we'll just save that and come back out and have another look on the analysis. Okay, we'll just leave that to idle away. We'll just turn the fan off just so we can hear what's going on. Just grab our keyboard. I forgot to say all the air conditioning and the fuel used and every other value still works within the software. We'll just kick some of these graphs back in a line. Okay, so as you can see, that runs much the same as what all the rest of them have been. It's all a real kind of a number. Our torque number is still the same, it's still right up there. Our peak horsepower numbers are all very, very similar. It's all very, very repeatable, and basically this is stage 1 tune, if you like. We've done very little to the car. It will make the same amount of power if we had left the standard injectors in it, but the standard injectors would have been running at 84-85% duty, and if the day's cooler, and as we said the air's cooler, we'd be getting up around 90, and that just starts to get a little bit dangerous. There's just not enough safety margin, which is why we have the other injectors in there. You can see it idles really nicely. That's with 1000cc injectors. How do you put it? It's they just make really good kind of power. And you have to remember, this is with the factory catalytic converter that everyone says is super restrictive. It still makes really good numbers, and the most impressive thing is it just carries the horsepower further than what the standard one would. Thanks for watching. If you like what we're putting up, give us a like, maybe subscribe, and we'll try and keep some more content coming to you over the next few months, just with some updates on the system and what we're doing. And we'll run a series where we'll actually go through each of the individual features in the system, because the system has a no lift upshift function, and it also has a blip and rev match on the downshift function. There's a lot of other really nice stuff in there, but all the factory features still work and are still there. Now, in case some of you might say, oh, it's thrown an error when you were doing the dyno, which it has, and it always will. No, actually it hasn't. Sometimes we get an ABS error just because the rear wheels aren't turning, and the system isn't overly happy about that, but it hasn't thrown an error on the dyno this time, so that's really good. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned, and we'll catch up with you next time.